boom. Na 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 boah. Na 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 boah. Na 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 boah. Na 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 boah. If you listen to the podcast version, I do splice that in. Hi, Frank. GameBrew theme songs. Sing the theme song to yourselves. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 127 of the GameBrew Podcast, the bi-weekly video game podcast where we sip delicious bevs, discuss video games, and oh man, it looks like you're maidenless.
Oh, I hate being maidenless.
Take that, huh?
I like that you had 2 fingers too.
Yeah, 2 fingers because you maidenless, son. Get out of here. On this episode of the GameBrew Podcast, we asked the question: Is video games too hard?
Are video games too hard?
Is video game hard too much?
Why English language?
Why hard games so much too? But first, it's time for a delicious bev. Christopher. Wait a minute. Ooh. I never said who we were. I'm Dan.
I'm Chris. You know what this is?
It's the Dan and Chris show.
It's the Dan and Chris show.
Dan and Chris show. It's the Dan and Chris show. It's the Dan and Chris show. On the Dan and Chris show, we drink delicious bevs too. Chris, what's the delicious bev that you're drinking?
I'm drinking a beer called Smoothie. It's from 6 Point Brewery. It comes in this very tall, thin, skinny can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting. It's a hazy IPA, and like on the back they're saying, "Warning: there is no fruit in this smoothie. It's the juiciest, fruitiest, smoothest thing you've ever drank, but that's just hop juice."
It's just hop juice.
Just hop juice.
Just hop juice. I mean, basically, how is it? How do you like it?
It's good. It's not my favorite hazy.
Okay.
I don't love it. It's just it's got some of that haziness, and I think it tastes like it has some like milk sugar in it.
Yeah,
it kind of has that creaminess.
Yeah, that creaminess. Hannah really hates that. Yeah. Some people really hate that creaminess. I'm not a big fan of it either. Sometimes, but you like it. You like it.
It's okay.
How many smoothies you give it?
I'd give it 3 out of 5 smoothies.
Well, what type of smoothie?
Mango
smoothie. Well, speaking of mango smoothies, I'm drinking something. Hannah.
Is it a mango smoothie?
Well, no. Hannah is doing this thing where instead of me going and buying beers that I will enjoy, I say, Hannah, just go buy something that you think looks fun. Like, if you like the way the can looks, because she doesn't know anything about beer. But right. I'm like, if you like the way the can looks or whatever, buy it, and I'll drink it. And we'll see what it's like.
How's that been working out for you?
Well, not great this time. So I'm drinking, well, let me explain. So I'm drinking, this is first, for everyone who's watching, this is the can.
Oh, that is a fun can.
It's a lot of fun. It is called Pint-Sized Hawaiian Pizza Party Tiki IPA. It is an India Pale Ale brewed with pineapple, mango, and vanilla beans.
Oh, interesting. It's interesting that we're kind of in the same wavelength here.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird. Ugh, it's freaky.
So you're not a fan?
Well, it's very overpowering.
Like
mango,
all the flavors?
Like mango and pineapple, already really strong flavors, right?
Yeah.
And then you add vanilla bean to it. And it just tastes like vanilla fruits. Like, it's very strong. Like, I can smell, like, you can smell it, and it smells like pineapple, but then you taste it, and it's very vanilla-y.
Too much?
Too much. Too much. If you can see my face while I'm doing it.
Is that a Pennsylvania brewery?
Boulevard Brewing Company. I don't know. You know what? We have the internet right here. Boulevard Brewing Company. It's a brewery. Here we go. Founded
Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Mizzou. Oh, Mizzou. Founded in 1989. I was founded in 1989.
Me too.
Oh my God.
I feel like I've heard of this group, but none of their labels look I've seen them before. I don't know.
I don't know. I can't say that I remember drinking anything, but looking at the labels and looking at the different things, they all look to be this type of beer. Where it's lots of
aggressive
flavors.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm gonna give it probably. I'm gonna give it 2 out of 5 pineapples.
Oh, that's
it's not great. It's really like a weird flavor. I just think that the flavor profile is weird. Like
I'm interested in it,
but I wouldn't.
I would only want one.
Yeah, I wouldn't drink it if I were you. That's just what I'm saying.
All right.
Because it's just too much going on. Like,
now, did you have a 6-pack of that, or did she get like a?
It's like a 4-pack of the big boys. So I've only got this one and the other one left. So
you're halfway. You're over halfway there.
Well, living on a prayer.
Yep. Going hard mode.
Yeah. So if you didn't see my disclaimer last week, on last podcast I said that Elden Ring came out on the 22nd. I was wrong.
Yes,
it came out on the 25th. But that's also wrong because for PC people like us, it came out on the 24th at 6 p.m.
Which was pretty cool.
Which was pretty cool, which also means that Chris and I have been playing nothing but Elden Ring. Pretty much for the last 2 weeks, week and a half.
Guess how many hours I have in it?
How many hours?
It's a nice amount.
I want to say 96.
Oh no, it's 69.
69.
Nice.
I'm at 37 on it, I think. Yes, I am. 37 hours in Elden Ring. Frank did guess 69.
Nice.
Good
job, Frank.
And Frank says you handed it to me, and he's right. I
did. I was like, it was a nice amount. I mean,
I'm so sorry. Nice. But yeah, I mean, Elden Ring came out, and I mean, it's really good. I enjoy it. I have fun.
I honestly think it's the best game I've played since Witcher 3.
It's definitely a lot of fun. And we're gonna get into it here. Hey, what's up, Dave? So that's Dave from Mongoose Omelet Demand Gen.
Hey, Dave.
We did play some Call of Duty last Thursday. Frank was there. We had some pretty cool wins.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
There was one. Dave had 12 bullets. He had 12 bullets in his MP5 and 5 sniper bullets, and there were 2 people left, and it was insane.
The video of this. One guy died from the gas,
the video's on the thing, and like there is no way. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how Dave did it. He was already so stressed, and we were all shouting at him too, so that doesn't make it any easier.
It's magic.
He always says one thing. Dave always says he's like on your right. Anytime you're like the last one there, just to screw with you, which isn't very nice because he did it to me. I'll post a clip of mine, and it was really long because the guy was like cheesing it somewhere on the map, but he was like to my right, and I actually turned to the right, and there was nobody there. I was like, I listen to you, Dave. How dare you?
As opposed to Captain America, who's always on your left.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
# luck, says Dave. But yeah, if you wanna listen, come hang out with the Mongoose Omelet Boys. We're on every Thursday most of the time. It's fun. You know, we all know how we feel about Activision Blizzard here at the Game Brew. But I still enjoy playing games with my brothers. So that's kind of how what the I'm adjusting sizes. That's what
majestic sizes.
No, adjusting sizes.
Oh, I thought you said majestic sizes, and I was like,
majestic sizes.
Where did you read those phrase?
Next game will be on your left, and then he's just going to play over his thing. The dun 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 dun. Oh, Allison says she's sorry that she's in Clash, so she can't participate. Allison is doing very well in a Clash tournament, with League of Legends.
What is Clash? Oh,
it's like the I think it's like the 3v3 version of it, where it's like you go like it's there's one lane and you just push back and forth against each other, something like that. I think I played it one time. I have League of Legends. I don't really play it that often, but
I used to play it a decent amount. But yeah, I haven't played
maybe we could play League of
We could be bad at League of Legends. I don't want to bring Allison's rank down.
I don't want to do that. I do want to. One of the things I would like to do is I want to get Hannah to do this too. Is maybe we can do like a. Allison says, "Do it, bring me down." Also, hashtag that's what she said. I will say I do want to play Civilization 6 because I feel like we've started Civilization 6 like 8 times.
Yeah.
And I think we need to like take a Saturday and just like we're just going to play a whole game of Civilization 6, you know?
I'd be down with that.
And I think like you, me, Allison, if Ian wants to do it, if Will wants to do it, if Alex wants to do it, Hannah would probably be in because it's basically a board game.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun. Just because I really get the itch to play it, and I'm like, but I want to play it with other people.
Yeah, it's definitely more fun with other people.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just you making tactical decisions, and who wants to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Who wants
Apparently I've played 30 hours of Civ 6. I don't know when that happened.
I mean, probably because you've started 6 campaigns, and each one of them you've spent 30 minutes on. Wait,
right,
no.
Exactly.
Wait, 5 hours on. Wait, I don't know how math works.
Yeah.
If you need a sub, let me know. I love Civ games, Frank says. Well, Frank, you're in because, boy, you can have a bunch of people play that game if I'm not mistaken.
You can.
So we could put as many of our idiot friends in there as we want. You're not an idiot, Frank. We all are. But yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about all the other games right now. How's Total War 3? Chris,
Elden Ring's kind of taken up all my time, so I've been taking a break. I'm kind of waiting for them to bring out their like combination map of like all 3 games, so we can have like all the things. Because I like a lot of the things they did, but some of the decisions they made for it's called the Realm of Chaos, and you have to go into the different realms of chaos and fight a demon prince and that sort of thing, and you have to do that 4 times, and it's a race. And you're fighting other people to get there first. So it loses some of the sandboxiness of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Which kind of, a lot of people have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Including one of the biggest like Total War streamers is like straight up not playing the game right now. Because I don't know if you heard anything about that.
Yeah, I saw that where he's like, it's broken. There's so many bugs, and it just didn't want to. He was like, I'm not going to be streaming this game until it's playable.
No, and he's totally right. I mean, like a lot of the things they did are really cool, but it's kind of handicapped by the campaign at the moment, and like how unflexible it is. Like you can't turn it off unless you mod the game.
Ugh, yikes! That's not
hopefully
good.
that changes quickly.
I hope so too. Well, we're going to talk about Elden Ring. So let's firstly, good luck, Allison, in your break a leg in your class tournament. I know you're here, so you can hear us. So you could do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Secondly, Elden Ring.
Yep.
We kind of know from Software games what it's about. We know. We will break our legs on this episode. Chris, go jump down some stairs real quick.
Well, I'm already in the basement. I can't jump down any farther.
Okay, I'm up high. Okay, I'm gonna do it. But Elden Ring basically, starts out the same way that every From Software game does. You're like a nameless, faceless person who is in this world, and you are now there to try and become
X.
Yeah, X, whatever it is. You want to be the biggest thing of whatever it is, then
you need to kill everyone and be the best.
Yeah, go fight all the things. From that point on, it's a From Software game, and then they add open world elements. So
yeah, I mean it's very much if Dark Souls and Breath of the Wild had a love child, and to me, I think like it's a really cool formula, and I know a lot of people aren't happy with. It seems like a lot of people that are criticizing it. It seems like this is their first From Software game,
and we're going to talk. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but first we're going to talk about what Elden Ring is. So we said it's From Software. So of course, you die, you come back, and then you lose all of the
Souls.
Whatever it is. It's not called souls. It's something else.
It's called runes.
Runes. You lose all the runes that you have.
But it's souls.
But it's basically souls. It's the same thing. But you have runes. You have equipment.
You have one chance to go back and get it. You have equipment you can upgrade. You can level your guy. Leveling doesn't do a whole lot each level, but over time it does.
It's interesting that in this version, as you kind of go up in level, there's a point you get to where your certain things you do don't have an effect on your numbers anymore.
Well, yeah, all of them always had a soft cap or a hard cap.
I like Faith has a soft cap at like 17 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, well, but there's also like spells and incantations which require like
higher levels
to be higher.
Yeah.
One of the spells is like 70, requires 70 int.
I think that must be the one that's like the big giant beam of light that shoots out. Which is very cool. But yeah, in this world there's swords, there's magic, there's fire magic, there's crystal magic, there's faith-based magic. There's
you can throw lightning bolts if you want.
Yeah. You can be really strong and actually have a portable arbalest that you can fire giant.
I never found that. Where did you find that?
It's on a tower somewhere. That's the other thing. It's open world. There's so many. One thing that's different about this from other From Software games is that the checkpoints are a lot more forgiving, in my honest opinion.
Very much so. And they have like the mini checkpoints too.
Right. And there's so many of them because there's the regular points of grace, which are you can sit down, level up, change things around. Then you have the stakes of America, which are usually like at a boss fight or where there's like something big you have to do that you can go back to instead of saying, oh, I don't want to go all the way back to.
And they make it so you don't have to if you fail, you don't have to like trudge through a bunch of stuff to get there. Whereas previously, I felt like that was very much like a thing in Dark Souls. Like you died, so then you have to go through and kill like 10 dudes to get back to where you were.
Right.
And that was kind of tiresome after a while.
Yeah.
Sure.
That was definitely one of the reasons where I think there was a barrier to entry for some people because it is really tedious.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, tedious.
Tedious.
The other thing, it's written by George R. R. Martin, and there's a lot of.
It's not written. It's the world was built.
The world was built by him, but it is very interesting, I think, because there's a lot of story. Like
there is more so than any other From Software game that I have played,
or at least more story that you can see.
It's given to you instead of like you having to figure out.
Yeah, because you kind of like jump into this world, you find out you're tarnished, which is like a person who is, in this undying plane, but you are not one of the Elden Lords, but you can become one of them if you get all of their,
defeat all of them.
If you defeat all of them and get their great runes. They've got some great runes. And then you also find out, so not only you're tarnished, you're maidenless. Oh boy.
Ugh.
Which
it's a rough life out there, man.
And then you find a point of grace, and then this entity says she will be your maiden. She will be the maiden for you because it has sort of like a Nordic, or not Nordic, Viking-esque. Well, that would be Nordic, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of feeling to it,
especially at the beginning in the first area.
Yeah. And it's really it's very neat. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of different characters. There's like a round table place you can go to where there's like a bunch of.
Yeah, it also had kind of like that Arthurian ishness to it.
It's a very interesting placement for it. That being said, I mean, there's a lot of like there is a character creator, but it's not great.
People are being pretty creative. I've seen like people make Samuel Jackson. The Hulk, like Super Chad, like
the Super Chad guy.
People make Super Chad.
I've seen it.
There's a shield that you can get that's a turtle shell.
Yep.
And like people have dressed up as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
because you can change that. There's like a mirror you can go to and change like your thing, and there's also a lady who can give you big hugs. Whatever you get a debuff, but
STD.
I mean, but hugs, man.
Hugs.
It's just nice to get.
But yeah,
hugs.
Fashion Souls is very much a thing in this one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But I mean, what's been your your favorite and least favorite thing about it so far?
Oh, my favorite thing about it, I think, is like the variety of stuff that you can do in the game. There's a lot of things that are like, if I don't feel like doing it, like if I don't feel like fighting the same freaking wizard who keeps killing me in the carry and study tower, because I have to run up and slice him and then he goes.
Oh, that guy?
Away. Yeah, that guy sucks.
Super annoying.
But I fought him like 18 times and I was like, that's it, I'm done. And I just go around and do something else. And then I find somewhere else I'm supposed to go instead. Or I go talk to an NPC that I hadn't talked to or seen and then like open up more story things, which is what I just did recently. I was going back and forth because I opened up the Carrion Manor and the Rennie storyline that kind of keeps you going.
Yep. Yeah, so in that manner, one of my least favorite enemies is in there, the hands.
The giant freaking Zelda hand things.
Yeah, but like they're like 3 hands together.
Yeah, they're the
They're
worst.
awful. I hate them.
They're
I hate
the
them so
worst.
much.
But,
yeah, there's some really good,
yeah,
and by good I mean just
terrifying.
terrible
Yeah,
boss, or not even boss, just creature designs in this game.
yeah, they really are unsettling.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris? What's your? Because mine is least favorite thing. Oh, I said my favorite thing is that you could just go do something else. My least favorite thing is that it's very difficult to level in this. The leveling up feels like it takes a lot longer, or I have to be a lot more dedicated to leveling in it.
That'll change soon for you.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, the next area, the Altus Plateau, they give a lot more experience out.
Okay. Great. I'm excited.
For me, a lot of the same thing, like where if you get stuck somewhere, you can just go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you never are out of options of what to do if you get stuck somewhere, and you can always come back. And the variety of weapons is astounding.
It is pretty staggering. There's a lot of different things.
I always usually did a strength or quality build, in any From Software game, but in this, like, I'm actually building into faith a little bit, and go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of weapons that use both. There's a lot of like really cool weapons that are like they're not just deadlocked into either being a strength weapon or a dexterity weapon or a faith weapon. Like it's not just swords, different swords, spell stuff. It's like, oh, here's a sword. This one is a sword, but it's also a spellcasting device. This one is a spellcasting device that can be a sword. This one is a sword that's made of a bunch of other swords, you know?
Oh, yeah, that very blatant Iron Throne
it's
reference.
I just got to get so strong to use it. That's the only problem.
Does it require 40 strength?
Yes, it does. Very much.
I can use that now.
Very.
And just like the items you can get, they're called talismans. They're kind of replaced rings.
Yeah.
Those can do a lot of things, and just there's so many different ways you can build a character now that you couldn't, I feel like, before. And it really opens up a lot of creativity in how you play. Like, I'm already thinking about what my next build is going to be for, like, if I do another run through, which I probably will.
You could always just change it right now.
Yeah, I could respec.
Yeah,
if I want
there is a boss you defeat that gives you the ability to do that. So, but yeah, no, it's definitely good. I think there are also a lot of really cool things about the open world where you can discover things, like the singing vampire bats. Like the first time that happened to me, I was just like, oh, that's a really pretty song that someone's singing. I just stood there listening to it for a while. Then I was like, oh, that's a freaking vampire bat that's singing that. It's
they did a really good job with that. And like that's been one of my favorite things too. It's just been, I haven't had this feeling of exploration in a video game and like wanting to see what's around the next corner in a long time.
I really think it's since Breath of the Wild. Like, I think in Breath of the Wild was the last time I was like, I want to go see where all this stuff is. Like, I wanted to go around and just find, like, maybe there's something at the top of this mountain. Maybe there's something in this like little thing on the map that I can see.
Usually there is.
And usually there is. Or there's not, and you just made it somewhere that was really difficult to get to.
I've really enjoyed a lot of what's being written on the ground. So in From Software games, there's like a way to communicate where you have like little sayings you have pre-made phrases and specific things you can say, but people always find interesting ways to twist those around.
That's true.
And that's always been entertaining for me, especially right now, just because people are really
they're really going for it. Because there's ones that are classic, which is basically anytime there's somebody's butt or there's like a butt of something.
Well, and they have the two fingers, butt, hole.
Yeah, and that's I have one in a place where there's a guy's body who's slumped over, and I said time for fingers, butt, hole, ...
Yes.
And there's also if only I had a giant butthole anytime there's like a big tower or something.
Or like even there's like little towers that are hanging out on
right.
Like almost every boss fight there, like there's one.
Or anytime there's a crab. My favorite thing also is whenever there's crabs around, because there's big crab bosses or like big crab monsters and little crab monsters. People just go around and they leave the message that just says crab. Yep. Prepare for crab. Yep. Oh no, crab. Man, it's creative.
And it's so contrasting to this bleak world that you're in, and it kind of gets you through.
It brings you like a weird little dose of dark humor every once in a while. And also there's, with multiplayer, if you're having trouble with a boss, you can always call in help, which is good. I know every once in a while I've called in like some random people to give me aid.
You should have called me in.
It's usually when you're not around. But or like I've been doing it 18 times. I don't want to be like, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm just going to pop one of the things and summon the first person who looks like they're naked and and wielding a katana, because usually those are the ones that are doing it the best and the most. Are OP.
Are super sweaty.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a time suck too. It keeps you going. Like it keeps pulling you back in.
It's been multiple nights where it's been like suddenly 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah. It's like I'll start playing. I'm like, I'm going to play a little bit before bed, and it's like 10 o'clock, and then I look at my watch and it's 2:30, and it's like, I need to go to bed. I have to work tomorrow.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible.
It's really good. It's really good.
Have you had any issues playing on PC? Like, have you had any performance issues?
There are some of the stuttering issues that people have noticed. There's like certain points. I only notice it when I first start playing. Like, it never happens after I've been playing for a while. It's really only like, it's only ever happened to me like in the first like 30 minutes that I've been playing the game. There's like, I notice I get to a place and then there's stuttering whenever I like go to do something. And I think it's just because there's a lot of processes kicking up that haven't started running fully yet. But I don't know. I just played the tuba. What am I supposed to do?
I've occasionally had it where it's like it gets alt tabbed for a second and then comes back.
Oh my!
Which is it luckily hasn't killed me.
Killed you yet, but
yeah, but it's I don't know.
Oh, that's tough.
It's concerning.
Definitely is concerning. But the thing that keeps popping up, and it's the same thing that always happens around these From Software games. Anytime From Software releases a new game, we start talking about the difficulty, because the appeal and because across the board, the review scores for Elden Ring are 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. I'd have to pull it up, but I think here we go.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Let's look that up so we don't give wrong information.
Right now the PS5 version has a 97, but the user score is 7.8.
Right, because people, there have been some review bombing things with it because of that. But like IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. PC Gamer gave it a 90%. PC Mag gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I don't know what that is. But yeah. Metacritic, 97%. So across the board, and even before it was released, people who did reviews of it seemed to be really like it's a really great game, and I would agree with them. But whenever you have reviews for a game like this, a From Software game, From Software games are very difficult, which means that the barrier to entry on the game is very high. So you have people who are like, this is a 10 out of 10 game. That's awesome. Let me try playing it. And then it's a From Software game, and it's very hard to play. And it's difficult because that's how they make their games. They make it to be difficult. They don't make it to be any other way other than that. But it brings
I mean, I don't even think they're at this point being like intentionally difficult. I think they're just trying to make it good.
challenging, I think is the word I would use.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like, I think that there were points that like they did things that were just intentionally difficult,
yeah,
and haven't. Well, I mean, besides the general, that was stupid.
the
General
general
Radan or Radan.
Redan. Oh, the big guy on the little horse.
That guy
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, that's a different type of. That's an interesting type of boss battle. I actually thought that was kind of interesting the way
It's interesting, but like, I don't know.
But
He sucks.
so the big thing is that this game comes out. It gets rave reviews. People go to play it, and it's very difficult, and that's not good sometimes. Whenever, especially if like there's people coming into the From Software games who are new to it. And it's like, if this is the first From Software game you've ever played, yeah, it's going to be hard.
I mean, I think anyone's first From Software game, I bounced off Dark Souls the first time I played it.
Yeah.
And I had to come back to it like a couple months later. And then when I came back, it was amazing. And I got it.
So so do you think, Chris, do you think that From Software, do you think they're doing this intentionally to keep people away from playing their games?
I don't think I mean, at the whole marketing plan around Dark Souls when it first came out was that you were going to die, prepare to die. It was the prepare to die edition, you know, like,
right.
So like, I think previously they kind of built that up as like oh, this is challenging. I bet you can't play it. And I think in a way that kind of worked in their favor. But now I think it's kind of, you might be right that it's like, it's kind of coming to a point where the people that already play From Software games are like wanted to challenge that, basically have. And now that it's becoming more mass appeal, it's kind of having a little more difficulty. With that being said, I think that they do a ton of things in this game. Like, I still think that the starting area is probably my favorite area of the game. Mm-hmm. Just because it's like it's got the most density of smaller dungeons for you to like go learn and level up, but also just it's a great starting area, and a lot of people I don't think are taking advantage of that.
Right. And because it does have that open world aspect where it doesn't hold your hand and kind of lead you through it. There is like a little tutorial area that does hold your hand a little bit.
An optional one that you could probably, a lot of people miss.
Right. Yeah. There's like a little hole you could jump down where there's a ghost in front of it that says, if you want to remember how to play and learn how to do it.
The cave, or drop down for the cave of learning.
Of attempted learning. But there are a lot of things. Fiedler in the chat says different market brings the challenge, but also brings people to try such a challenge. And I think what has happened is with a good reviewing game, everybody wants to try and play it, or a lot of people want to try.
New hotness.
Yeah, and then whenever they're like, this is too difficult, how would they make it too difficult? Isn't there a way for me to play this game without it being as hard? And then that's where we get into kind of the problem. Now, there are some games, there are things that Elden Ring and the From Software games don't do great. For instance, differently abled gamers, it is not friendly whatsoever. No. Like, this is From Software has never really made any sort of anything to make their
like
games,
accessibility.
Yeah, it's like, it's really not great. So that is unfortunate. And kind of the way it's built, it would be difficult to do that. And it would be nice for them to make some concessions to do that. Like, it really would be great for them to give you a way to kind of change the controls and make it a little bit more accessible. But that's one of the things. That's another one of the things. Yeah.
I will say, though, that I think that they probably intentionally make it so you're able to cheese things if you really have a hard time.
That's true. There are ways to kind of cheese bosses and get through areas without having to do a whole lot of work. And I mean, even for, me, like, playing the game is not easy on my hands. Like, I don't think the control scheme is good. I think the control scheme is what the control scheme needs to be.
I'm so used to it.
But I think that's just because we're used to it.
Yeah,
but the fact that that the button that you press over and over again to attack stuff is like that button, or the right bumper is like, my right bumpers get destroyed from this game because
I've been doing more trigger than bumper.
Well,
recently.
it's because you do big old attacks. I do lots of fast attacks. But
gotta break them stances, man.
I mean, I try. That's what a blood tinged weapon with the left trigger is for, because it does a lot more damage. But these are just Elden Ring things. But what about do you think that there should be an easy mode? Like, do you think there should be a way for people to be able to lower the difficulty of some of the things?
I think that they give so many tools that they don't need to. I mean, I don't think Breath of the Wild had an easy mode.
That's true.
I don't think people complained about that. And it was it had some of that Dark Soulsy difficulty in some of the combat sometimes.
Yeah.
And like having to learn how to parry the guardians and stuff. Like, I don't know. Some of that was there. Like, and I don't recall people complaining about that.
Well, it's Nintendo. Nintendo can't do anything wrong, even though they do a lot of stuff wrong. But it's, so you would say that it's not necessarily that there is stuff that is hard. It's just that it takes learning to do it in a way that makes it easier.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, if you're having trouble with a boss, you can, like, I mean, the first boss is definitely like a check to make sure you're actually ready for the game.
Yes.
Margit. And he's tough.
Margit.
He's a tough first boss.
The Fel Omen Margit, I think, was interesting because everybody kind of did the same thing. We all rode up. We all were like, okay, we got a horse. You rode past all the dudes. You rode up to where the thing is. You're like, oh, great, cool. There's a boss here. Let me see what this is about. And then he just
stomps you.
Just destroys
Absolutely
you.
Stomps you.
Like, not even close to being ready to fight that.
Yeah, no, he wrecked me. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go explore everything else out here. And then came back and then didn't have as hard of a time. And I think that's what that boss was there to teach you. Just as like the tree sentinel right outside where you start is there to say you don't have to fight everything that comes across your path.
Right. You can skip it for right now and then do it later.
Yep.
You know?
By the way, there's a point where you have to fight two of those at the same time.
Two of Margit the Fel Omens?
No, the tree sentinels.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's fun. But Fiedler says, challenge yourself to learn a new way to play that you wouldn't normally do. Now, that being said,
it's problem solving. I don't know.
It's problem solving. But that being said, I mean, it doesn't have to be for everyone. I think that is kind of where, with video games and movies, because there's like movies that people like that some other people don't like. Hannah's downstairs watching a horror slasher movie that came out on Hulu called Fresh. Has Sebastian Stan in it. I have no desire to watch the movie. I really don't care.
If it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
I don't know. Look it up. But this is what the internet's for. But for me, I don't really care about that stuff. I'm not a huge slasher flick fan, and it's just also not something I'm going to do. Ian,
it's certified fresh.
It's certified fresh. Fresh is certified fresh.
Excellent.
I mean, Sebastian Stan's in it, and Sebastian Stan can do no wrong as far as Hollywood.
Apparently, it's a horror comedy. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Hannah whenever we're done the podcast how it was, and whether the twist was good enough. I've already read the plot, so I know exactly what happens. Don't tell Hannah. Because that's what I do with scary movies. I read the plot so I know exactly what happens.
You're prepared.
Well, either that or I'm like, I don't really care about watching all of the gory, gross stuff. I just want to know what happens in it, and then I just do that.
I was just thinking about how it'd be really cool if there was a website that tells you where all the jump scares are in a movie. There totally is.
There totally is. There's definitely one. That has to exist.
No, it's called where'sthejump.com. Excellent.
Where'sthejump.com. Awesome. Not a sponsor of the podcast, but go visit it. But like, I know I'm not going to watch that. Ian loves walking simulator games. I know I really don't like walking simulator games that much. I don't really play them. That's kind of what I do. But it's like, it's kind of finding the way.
I don't like survival games all that much most of the time.
Right. So I think it's kind of, whenever something that's a high profile game like this that comes out, this discussion kind of pops up. And I always think it's a little bit like, it's like no one, if you don't want to play it,
just admit it's not for you.
You don't have to. And if it's too hard, then it's too hard. But I think there are some games that like make a concession to this. There's a lot of games that are coming out now that do have like a story mode, which I think
and yeah, like the Assassin's Creed games coming out with like the history mode, which is kind of neat.
Right. And then there's like the Star Wars came out with one that was the Jedi Fallen Order that had a mode that was like super easy, which you could play it if you just really want to just experience the story, which is really
cool.
It's really neat, and it's a way for people to do things.
But those are more like linear-ish story-based games. This isn't one of those.
Right, and that's why I think with games like those and games that have easy modes or that are not as difficult, I think it's about the story. Whereas with Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro is about the story. Very difficult still. I will say I think that no, I was gonna say it's easier than some of the Dark Souls games, but it's really not.
So maybe like I could see maybe that one having
that one you could do, but it's also still like sort of the same type of game. But it is mostly about learning to parry, and that's kind of what that game is.
Right.
But
like Ghost. Did you play Ghost of Tsushima?
No, I haven't played that yet.
It's very good, but I believe that has an easy mode.
Cool,
if I recall.
Nice,
and it's cool because it does have a good story. It's like a story of revenge and that sort of thing. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and it does. But Dark Souls, Demon Souls, blah blah blah, all those Soulsborne games. Well, now we can't say that because we've also got Sekiro and Elden Ring. So what do we call them?
Soulsborne Ring dies
twice.
Soulsborne Ring dies twice.
Soulsborne Rikiro. With those, yeah, it's about the challenge. It's kind of like no one played Super Mario
for the story.
We know the story. Sorry, Mario Princess is in another castle. You played it to get further and beat the game. Right. And I think that, in my opinion, which is probably, and that's, again, these are all our opinions. And I think that it's important that everybody do have their own opinion about stuff. Sometimes whenever it's just the Dan and Chris show, it's like kind of shouting into a vacuum. Yeah, because it is definitely an echo chamber because me and Chris have very similar ideals on stuff. But I do think they could do a little bit to make it more accessible to people. Like, I do think that some like adjustment of control schemes or making that things a little bit different. I think that could be something they could do.
I could see that. I don't know if they've ever done that.
They have not. I don't think they ever have. And I don't know if they care enough to.
I probably don't.
But as far as the difficulty of it, just as a game, I wouldn't say that it is imperative to change that for the masses.
Another complaint I've heard that people have been saying is that they don't like that there's no like quest log and like no mini map.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't think that bothers me all that much because it's a different kind of game. You're not just going to try and check things off all the time.
Right. Or if you are checking things off, it's not necessarily It's not like trying to collect 60 mushrooms, you know.
Right.
It's
What you're gonna do anyways.
yeah, and yeah, you'll find a lot of mushrooms. People write it on the ground. They say mushroom ahead. But the things that are important are, you know, whenever you're talking to somebody and they'll be like, oh, hey, you have to go here and bring this to this guy. And you'll be like, oh, because no one tells you to do that the majority of the time. There is a system where if you're at a point of grace, it does point you in directions that are more important. So
yes, it does do that.
So you do get that, and that is something they've never ever done before. So, but with an open world, you kind of need it.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard of some people writing down notes while they're playing, which is, I don't know, I think kind of neat.
Yeah, but it's an interesting way to play games, you know, to make notes to yourself. I mean, that's kind of what people did before we could do any sort of quest tracking, you know. Dungeon masters have been doing it for centuries, generations, decades, excuse me. I forgot what the number title was that I was trying to do. But I think one of the things that we get into is like are video games becoming harder? And this kind of leads us to our main question of the episode. Are video games too hard? Have they been getting too hard?
I don't think so. I don't think they're any harder than they used to be, in my head. Have the folks on the street been saying that they are?
Well, I mean, that's the question. Is games too hard? Video games, is they too hard?
I think that, you know, some games are made to be harder than others for sure, but I don't think that they're too hard. I think there's a gamut, and I think there's a wider gamut than there ever has been of like more casual games versus, you know, very hard games for the purpose of being hard. Like, I mean, like some of the stuff like on Super Mario Maker is just ridiculously hard for whatever reason, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you could say that is other people doing it to other people, not game designers. But I mean, I guess in Super Mario Maker, everybody's a game. Everybody is a game designer.
You too can be a game designer.
You too. Join for only $5.99. You can be a game designer right now. And I think there's a wider available, like more people are playing games than have ever played games before. Yep. And I think that may be a big reason why there is so much more of a, like, why are these games so hard? Especially with Demon's Souls was kind of like this. It was kind of like this sleeper hit. It was like a cult. Yeah. It's like a cult game almost.
Well, I mean, and so was Dark Souls.
And so was Dark Souls. Whenever they came out, it was like,
I feel like the first big one was Dark Souls 3.
I think that was the first one that really had
and like
a lot of people involved with it. And because it's like, it wasn't a thing. They made a game to be hard. They made a game that was that was difficult and challenging.
Yep.
And people weren't really doing that. But that also came at a time when there weren't really a lot of super difficult games. There were a lot of games with like, that was the age of like, there were being automatic checkpoints. There being like no dying in games where you would come back, like just respawn like a few feet back from where you fell off the cliff.
Right.
So I think there was such a juxtaposition there of the difficulty of Demon's Souls and games like that with everything else that was really popular.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I remember having some like struggles with like Mass Effect on occasion.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't, you know, I wouldn't call them hard.
Yeah.
Like I always played most games on normal.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and like even
I will say though, as I'm getting older and feel like I have less time to play video games, sometimes I will stick it on easy if I just want to kind of
just experience it.
And that's totally fine. I don't like
We don't difficulty shame here at the Game Brew. Like,
not
if
at
you
all.
want to play a game at whatever way you want to play a game,
play video games. Who cares how you play them?
Go for it. I don't care. You could do whatever you want. Shoot. You can have whatever you like. There's
a song about that.
I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's with any games, just go out and play it. And if you want to play easy games, go for it. I don't play
Animal Crossing. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Animal Crossing is great. I love it.
Pokemon. Crossing. It's great.
I don't like Pokemon as much. I like Pokemon. Is that a controversial opinion to not love Pokemon? I like Pokemon.
Apparently, it's a controversial opinion to love Elden Ring. So no.
Apparently, not loving anything in this day and age is a way for everyone to either love you or hate you. So it's
something that Tyler says a lot. It's good to love things.
Yeah, never. That's why don't put anything on Twitter ever, because you could post you could be like, spending a nice day with my dog, and then people are like, why aren't you spending a day with a cat? I can't believe you're spending time with dogs and not people.
Speaking of dogs, look at this painting we have of Lilo.
Oh, such a good little girl. So cute. Yep. Love her so much. In here, I saw in the notes you put, what are some games that are easy that you enjoy, Chris?
Yeah.
I'm asking you now. What are some games that are easy that you enjoy, Chris?
I mean, Animal Crossing.
Yeah?
I enjoy Animal Crossing. Or Stardew Valley. I wouldn't call that very challenging. Or even Roller Coaster Tycoon. I don't think it's particularly challenging, but like the Total War games, like there are games I play to relax, and Elden Ring is not one of them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like Power Wash Simulator is not a hard game. It takes time because you're power washing stuff.
It's more tedious than anything else.
Yeah, but it's just like, it's fine. I like it. It's easy.
It's satisfying.
You just clean stuff. There's like
cleaning fake things to avoid cleaning real world things.
Yes. I mean, there are like any Final Fantasy games, they're not unbelievably hard, and I like playing those. Or like, I don't know, Rocket League, not inherently a hard game.
That depends.
It could be how you accept it. I mean, like
if you're playing against Ian.
Yeah, that would be.
It would be a hard game.
Ian's very good.
But if you're playing against me, it'd be an easy game.
It'd be an easy game.
Right. Yeah.
I think, I don't know, there are some things that I really enjoy. Like on my phone, I like to play really basic stuff whenever I'm just chilling out. Is TikTok a game? I like to play TikTok whenever I'm pooping. Board games, never inherently difficult, but you're usually playing against your friends, so that kind of makes it
I like games experience. Where I play with my friends.
We know that about you, Chris. You don't like playing against your friends.
I like friendship.
Friends will be friends. Running naked
in the sand. Jack Black wouldn't take us down.
He wouldn't. No, he would talk to us about video games. But yeah, Jablinski. I mean, so with this discussion about video games being too hard, is video games too hard? I think we have kind of settled on the depends.
Yeah, it depends, but like, I think there's tons of options out there, and if you want a hard game, you can find a hard game. If you want something that's not so hard, you can find that. While we were actually talking about that, I was thinking about the most recent Doom Eternal versus the original Doom, like the Doom 2016, and I feel like they ramped up that difficulty.
You think Doom Eternal was harder than Doom 2016?
I do.
Going into my mind palace real quick just to see if I remember playing both of them at the same time. I think you're right. I remember playing Doom 2016, and that it was more fun to be like, yeah, Doom, versus Eternal was
more tense,
more difficult. I did have to ramp the difficulty down on Eternal.
It was definitely like a Because I mean, Eternal especially was like you had to keep moving the entire time. So like it was no adrenaline rush, but like
my heart was always going like that. But I did have to. I remember moving it down from like the normal difficulty to the easy one because
there's a couple times I put it down.
It was just at some point it was just like this is just too much.
Yep.
It's just too much. So yeah, it depends. There are some games that are too hard. There are some games that are not hard. There are some games that you get to make a choice. And I think while everyone should experience games that are difficult, I don't think that means we all need to throw our hat into the ring and, fight each other over whether it's good.
You shouldn't be shouldn't be mad about a game that you're bad at and posting on Metacritic because of that.
Right. But also the other side of that is you shouldn't ever you should never talk down to somebody because they don't like a game because it's hard. That's fine for you to not like a game because it's hard. It goes both ways. Like don't be mean to people who don't like the game and say it's too hard because it's too hard. It's very difficult. Yep. That's the way it's built. So if they say, "Oh yeah, it's like, oh, I don't like this game." It's not there. It's not. You don't have to defend the game. That's fine. The game is the game. The game is the game is the game is the game.
And you know what? You just lost it.
Oh shit on my ass! I can't believe you just did that to me.
Yeah.
So in general, we at the Game Brew have a policy of be nice to everybody, regardless of whether.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. So be nice. Be nice. And just have fun playing whatever you're going to play. If it's Elden Ring, sweet. Maybe I'll touch your sign, Maybe you'll find my thing that says...
Maybe you'll find your maiden.
Maybe you'll find your maiden. Maybe you'll find my thing that says... Maybe you'll get to the 2 fingers. Prepare for fingers butthole here. And you'll like it. If you do...
And laugh.
You'll laugh. That's what we're here for, is the laughs. So with that, I think that's going to be it for the episode. So yeah, a big question. Video games too hard? Sometimes. And
super definitive answer.
Super definitive answer to that question. Listen, we don't say we're going to answer all the questions good. We just say we're going to answer them. Okay. So with that, we're going to plug some things. We're going to plug Allison. Do you have anything you want to plug? Yes, Allison wants to plug her stream on Wednesdays. You can go to twitch.tv/Vinalia, Vinalia. Yeah, I spelled that right. And she streams every Wednesday most of the time. Except when she doesn't. Except when she doesn't, which is fine. It happens. On Thursdays, me and the Mongoose Omelet Boys usually have some Warzone time. So you can come and hang out with us. That's usually around 8 or 8:30 on Thursdays. That's twitch.tv/tubecrazed, TUBECRAZED. We obviously stream on the podcast every other Sunday at this channel, twitch.tv/The Game Brew. Our next is scheduled for, what's today? Is today the 6th?
Yes.
Then that means our next...
The 20th.
The 20th. On March 20th, we will have our next stream. Be there. Or don't. But be there. And you can also hang out with us in the in-between times. Post fun clips of you playing video games. Talk to people about video games. See what people are playing or talking about.
Hang out with cool people.
Yep, and that's on our Discord at bit.ly/discobrew, DISCOBREW, bit.ly/DISCOBREW. Yeah. And if you have any questions, you can ask us them there, or you can ask them now if you're here in just a minute. But first, we're going to do what we always do. Chris, do you have anything you want to plug?
No. Elden Ring's cool.
Elden Ring is cool. Great. So with that, we're going to say what we say whenever we close the GameBrew Podcast. And we're going to say good night.
Bye, everybody.